Hi, and welcome once again. This is Seth Feinberg. I am the editorial manager and U.S. team lead here for AccountingWEB. Um, on yet another episode of our Summit Talks, where we get to chat a little bit with some of our core speakers and panelists for our upcoming summit. If you don't know about it yet, it is going to be in May 9th to the 12th, in San Diego, California, at the beautiful Paradise Point Hotel, which is literally an island in Mission Bay in San Diego, California. With me today is Ed Kless. Now, some of you may know Ed. If you've heard his name, before, we're going to get to know him a little bit today. So he's talk about himself a little bit, about some of the things he's going to be talking about at Summit and why he chose to be there with us. Ed Kless, introduce yourself. Hello.
Well, thanks, Seth. I really appreciate you having me today. Looking forward to it. And I'm looking forward to being seen and not just viewed at some point in the future. That's going to be great.
Every one of us, man. This is why we're doing this. We're stressing the live part of Summit because the last couple of years, as you know, there hasn't been a whole lot of live that has happened. A little bit here and there. Some of the folks have tried. We're one of the fewer independent shows that is coming out there, and we kind of thought long and hard about if we were going to have a show, what would it be? And then the pandemic hit, and it kind of put a pause on our plans, and then we sort of wondered what it was going to be coming out. So this is for a lot of practitioners, a lot of folks, probably their first show possibly ever, or at least in some time. Folks who are used to kind of going to shows, networking, meeting with each other, and that's a big part of what we're trying to do, Ed. So, Ed, why don't you give a little background on yourself? I've known you for quite a long time, and I can talk about you, enormously. But why don't you just give a little background on yourself, bud?
Well, sure. I'll be at Sage 18 years this coming July 1st. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
And if you had told me I was going to be at Sage 18 years ago for 18 years, I would have said there was no way that was going to happen. But here I am, and nonetheless, and the reason is because I have the absolute best job at Sage. And that is because I get to work with our partners, who are not only accounting firms who influence the people who use our software, but also our customers to a certain extent, and then also internally with the folks inside Sage. So I like to say it's like Norm getting the beer tasting job on Cheers. Do you remember that episode? I do.
Of course, yes.
I do one job and I get 3 times the benefit. So it's a wonderful thing, because I just believe that the entrepreneurs continue the work of creation, and whatever I can do to help entrepreneurs continue to create makes me happy, and that's what I love doing, and Sage allows me to do that every single day. So I have a great job.
And you also have another role as well, you and the great Ron Baker at the VeraSage Institute, do you not?
Yes, we have been doing a podcast for now 7+ years, and that will, I think, be 8 years as well in July. So of the 18 years I've been at Sage, I've been doing eight years of a podcast called The Soul of Enterprise with Ron, and just a reflection of my why. Right, our show is based on this notion that business needs to have a spiritual, although not necessarily religious, component. It's got to have an ethereal part to it. It's got to have purpose. And one of our main messages that we often talk about is that what I think even a lot of business people miss is that profit in an organization is a result, not a cause. We don't go in business to make a profit. We go into business to serve some other purpose. And the result of that is that we happen to make a profit, or we don't. And if profit is not made, the organization doesn't exist anymore. And that's okay. It just means that you're not creating enough value externally to yourself. And that's how capital is supposed to be allocated, based on where it's best used. And profit is an indicator that you're allocating the resource of capital correctly. So I think people misunderstand this whole notion of what capital and profit is supposed to be oftentimes, and don't understand that, no, the economy is an information system. It's not just a reward system. And that information system is what's so crucial. So that's a lot of what I talk about, and a lot of what I share with my audiences.
Excellent. So, again, this clearly applies to accounting firms too. I mean, make no mistake, like they are a business, and you become an accountant. Obviously, to a lot of accountants that I've spoken to over the years, they're like, oh, I want to help. I got into to help others, help individuals, help other businesses, help them grow, and that seems to be the most rewarding part of the job. But at the end of the day, they're a business too, so they have to think about these things.
Right.
Uh,
And
uh,
what they have to do is to create the business model that best represents what it is that they do. And that's what I'm going to be talking about at Summit, in that is the creation of a really, I think, a new business model for accounting firms. And that is the move to what I'll call the subscription-based pricing system. Just to back up a second and say a business model consists of two things. One, how does your organization create value for its customers? So that's the go-to-market piece. What is it that you do to create value in others? And then the second component of a business model is how do you capture some percentage of that value that you create through your pricing system? And for a long time, Ron Baker and I have talked a lot about value-based pricing or value-led pricing, where we said that we're going to base our price based on this value that we create and not our costs. Well, we've taken it even one step further, which is in the subscription economy. And this is based on the work of Teen So over at Zora, who's done some great work in his book Subscribed, is to say that what we want to put at the absolute center of what we do with our customers is the relationship itself. And the best way we feel to do that from a capture value perspective is to use some kind of a subscription basis. So what you're saying is I'm subscribing to the firm. I'm not getting a service from them. I'm subscribing to the knowledge that the firm can share with me to help me make my business better.
Exactly. So this is part of, so the title of your session, why don't we kind of get into that a little bit and how you sort of came up with that concept?
Well, I forget which exact title I gave you because I do vary it from time to time, but I know it's going to be about subscription-based pricing specifically, right? So give me the I think I changed up from place to place what I put as initially the name of it.
Yeah, I believe we're going with it was kind of using your, basically using your brain.
Yes, 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 yes. So sell your brain, right? Sell your brain, not your time.
Selling your brain, not your
Yep,
time.
yep,
Tell us
yep.
about how
So
you came up with that
yeah, and
idea,
that's
because I think people kind of their ears kind of perk up and go on, like tell me more about that.
well for a long, long time, a lot of accounting professionals and all professionals, actually, lawyers, people who do marketing, IT professionals, even to a certain extent, marketing agencies, architects, all believe that what they were selling was their time, and they would bill by the hour. So they would literally sell, okay, one of our hours is equal to 150 or 250 or whatever dollar amount. And if you want an hour of my time, that's what you have to pay. Trouble is that no customer ever wanted to buy an hour. They didn't want hours. They wanted the results of the hour. And Peter Drucker, of course, the great management guru of the 20th century, said that you should sell what your customers buy. And that's one of those Peter Druckerisms that you're just like, well, duh, of course, Peter. Yes, you sell what your customers buy. What do you think? I'm an idiot? Well, but here's the thing. If you're putting hours on your timesheet and you're selling those hours, you are not selling what your customers are buying, because your customers aren't buying the hour. They're buying the results of the hour, the output, or better yet, the outcome of the hour. And that's really the key. And so that's the whole notion of this: sell access to your brain, not your time.
It's a great concept, and definitely in the past, you and I have discussed the idea of subscribing to to a firm, and it seems like, okay, on the surface that might be somewhat of a foreign concept, but it's not, is it? How many things do we subscribe to today?
Yes, and let me give you
Get value from it.
yeah, let me give you a very specific example for me. I at the end of 2021, I subscribed to what I thought was a vacuum cleaner.
Okay.
Okay, I actually
Go on.
subscribed to a vacuum cleaner. It was a Roomba that had the tower in it, and this is a great little system. But what I realized after using this thing for about 3 or 4 months now is that I didn't subscribe to a vacuum cleaner. I subscribed to clean floors.
Ah,
So
I love
there's
it.
the difference between what I was subscribing to. I thought I was subscribing to a thing, an output even, but what I was really subscribing to was an outcome. And the
The
outcome
outcome.
was clean floors that I don't have to worry about. And that's really the key.
Well, I love the airline idea too of this is what people want there. It's about the experience, right? It's not like, oh wow, I really love Delta or I really love American. It's what you're getting from that, correct?
Yeah, and that's a good analogy sometimes, Seth, to use the airlines, because it's similar to the to an accounting firm. An airline has a minimum quality standard, and that is not to kill their passengers, right?
Get them from one place to
They
another
place to
without
another
killing
safely,
them
safely,
safely.
safely, right?
Yeah.
So that's what they want to do. They really got an incentive not to do that. It's really bad for business when you kill your customers. That's a bad thing. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, they tend not to come back when you kill them.
Uh,
It's really weird. They're weird that way. Um, but if you think about that minimum quality standard is very much similar in an accounting firm to some kind of minimum quality standard that an accountant has to put on the work that they do, right? They can't say, well, for you, since you're not paying me that much, your debits are not going to equal your credits. So that's not we're not gonna calculate that just exactly right for you, right? Because it literally could kill the business if you do these things incorrectly. So I think there's an understanding there that, okay, there's a minimum quality threshold, but similar to the airline, people have different experiences. The people who sit at the back of the plane want to pay web fare prices to sit in the back of the plane and next to the old lady who presses the call button 57 times, still wanting peanuts. And they're
I've
like, sorry,
I've
there
sat
hasn't been
with
peanuts
that
on.
near.
Yeah. There hasn't been peanuts on planes for 10 years. I'm sorry. They're like, we don't do that anymore. But and she's always in and out of all of this stuff. Or you can sit up front and where you get more leg room and you pay additional to get that. Or you can sit all the way up front where you get on the plane first. They give you a glass of champagne still and a towel to wipe yourself down and all of these lovely things. But you all get safely from Dallas to San Diego. You all get safely from there. That's the minimum threshold, but the way that you experience that can be very, very different. And I think the same thing is true for accountants and the people that they do the work for. So, for example, on a simple tax return, let's say, if you're paying web fare prices, if you're paying, sit at the back of the plane and hit the call button 57 times, we're not going to try to get your return out by April 15th. We're just going to put you on extension. We're not even going to try.
Yeah.
However, if you want that, we're going to make sure that you get it out by the 15th. We'll represent you if there's a problem with the IRS. You don't have to worry about it. You will not pay another dime. We will make sure that this return is handled all the way through the process. Where you're going to pay a price for that's significantly higher. It's still to the same quality standards as the person who bought the web fare ticket. It's just going to happen before April 15th and with representation if something were to go wrong. So those are like the little insights that we can take from these other industries. And I'm going to be talking about that. I'm going to be talking about the development of what's called direct primary care in the medical profession, which is a great analog for what I think that accountants could be doing. And how that's changing the industry and even circumventing the whole insurance process, which is wonderful. So those are the types of things we're going to take thinking from other places and apply it to what accounting firms should be doing.
Excellent, Ed. Well, I hope that's enough of an actual teaser, and I hope you all do get to Summit safely um, on whatever level of travel that you choose. Switching gears a little bit, Ed. What was it? Obviously, we've known each other, a long time, and thank you for sort of believing in what we're doing. What was it that sort of made you, putting you on the hot seat now? What made you kind of choose to be like, yeah, like I'll definitely, this is something I want to speak at? Because you know who our audience are. They're 100% practitioners. The folks that typically are either own or make decisions at their practices. Which again, the accounting firms in America and even up in Canada too, by and large, are pretty small. And
Mhm.
so they have problems that maybe and issues that they're dealing with that maybe some of the larger firms aren't necessarily doing. But sorry,
Well, yeah,
getting ahead
no,
of
I think
what,
I think
what
that,
would you
that
say?
really
Yeah,
the key, other than being seen and not viewed, as we talked about earlier,
yeah, no,
I think
that's
that
key. That's
also,
key.
yeah, also the fact that I think what we've experienced and coming out of what's happened with COVID has really made people rethink their entirety of how they're running their lives. So whatever you want to call it, the Great Resignation, Great Reshuffle, all of this stuff. Well, when you own your own firm, it's really difficult to participate in the Great Resignation, right? You're like, I hate my boss. Well, your boss is you,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
But to a certain extent, you can, because oftentimes it might be I'm not I don't get along with I don't like many, not all, but many of the customers that I'm doing work for right now. And what can I do to potentially change that? And one of the things that you can do is to begin to change your business model about that. And I think that this is a message that a lot of the folks that are going to be coming into this conference might need to hear. To say there is something that they can do differently. They're not just going to do the same thing that they used to do back in the pre-COVID days, but they're actually going to change the way they think about their business model. And in doing so, work what I would hope for: fewer customers, but make more profit.
yeah. That seems to be a bit of a trend too, and I know when you're talking about doing things like, whatever, client advisory services, doing more advisory level work, things that aren't, sort of more of the traditional, accounting work. It's definitely more of that higher value, lower volume
Hmm.
of work that you can do more for a single client than you can for a lot of them. I think the days of maybe having hundreds of clients might be winding down. I don't know.
It could be, or it's just a question of, are you getting your business model right? Look, Ruth's Chris and
Yeah.
McDonald's both sell hamburgers.
Yes, they do.
One sells a ton of hamburgers, one says very few hamburgers.
Yeah.
But you would be disappointed going into a McDonald's if you thought you were getting a Ruth's Chris burger, and vice versa. Right? If you thought that you were going to pay, $5 for your burger or less, you would be equally disappointed by going into a Ruth's Chris and finding out that they have a $50 Kobe beef burger on their menu. Right? That's going to be equally disappointing. But what I think what accounting firms and many professional organizations have tried to do is they've tried to be both Ruth Chris and McDonald's. And you can't. You can pick one, but you can't be both. A brand can only stand for one thing, and you really need to decide what your brand is for. And neither one of those are bad models. They're
Yeah.
just different, and you can't have them operating in the same roof.
Yeah. Can't be. Yeah, you can't be both. I totally agree with that. So other than being present and being among other accountants, other thought leaders, folks that you've known for years, and obviously, hopefully, some new faces, some new friends, people that you haven't met yet. What are you looking forward to most?
The great weather in San Diego. I mean, for sure, certainly that.
Oh yeah,
Tequila. Can I say tequila? Would that be
yes, you
appropriate?
can. We've had some ads going out over the past week that are just advertising the ADP sponsored Tequila Fest that is about to happen.
Yeah, but you did mention, right, the real key for me, which is those conversations both during sessions and after the fact that we're going to get to have with people, because that's really where I think the knowledge is exchanged and really created, what's called knowledge elicitation, where new knowledge gets together by people sharing different ideas with one another and creating new stuff from that.
Well, we've put together, and thank you, and we've put together, somewhat painstakingly, an agenda that has a mix of the old and the new. That is both diverse and hopefully bringing up some new ideas, things that we know that we hear. And have been posted on Accounting Web that we want to, get onto the live stage. Things that, discussions that really need to happen, and that's really kind of at the core of what I feel, when I came onto Accounting Web 7 years ago, was missing, was somewhere that regularly was generating these ideas that and these discussions that need to kind of continue to get discussed. Much like we've done together and articles that you've written. We want accountants to think and really just kind of be able to step back when they have the chance to do that. So hopefully they'll all be traveling out to and we've also besides the conference itself too, we sort of structured it so that we know it was our first time out. We weren't expecting to kind of blow the doors out. We had everything on an island, for a reason. um and we want everyone to just kind of be somewhat self-contained and feel comfortable. And everyone is going to get a chance to network with everyone. That's vendors and attendees, speakers included. So really looking forward to seeing you again, Ed, in person. It's been too long, my friend.
All
Um,
right.
any final thoughts? Otherwise, I will see you in May.
Sounds great.
All right, cool. I will let you get on with your day, and thank you so much, Ed Kless. Going to be speaking along with some other great names that are out there, and we're looking forward to seeing you all there at Live Summit in May in San Diego at the Paradise Point Hotel. Take care.